Yemen's Iran-backed Houthis have joined the war against Israel. They have claimed to have launched a large number of ballistic missiles and drones towards Israel, which is locked in a war against Hamas in Gaza. In a televised statement, the Houthi group's military spokesperson, Yahya Sari, said that the operation was the third targeting Israel, with more to come.
بعون الله تعالى قامت قواتنا المسلحة بإطلاق دفعة كبيرة من الصواريخ البالستية والمجنحة وعدد كبير من الطائرات المسيرة على أهداف مختلفة للعدو الإسرائيلي في الأراضي المحتلة. إن القوات المسلحة اليمنية تؤكد أن هذه العملية هي العملية الثالثة نصرة لإخواننا المظلومين في فلسطين.
The Houthis see themselves as part of the axis of resistance, which includes Iranian-backed Shiite Muslim factions in Iraq and Lebanon's Hezbollah group. The Israeli military said it used the Arrow aerial defense system for the first time since the October 7th outbreak of the war with Hamas to intercept a surface-to-surface missile in the Red Sea fired towards its territory. Last week, Israel accused the Houthis of sending drones that caused explosions in 2 Egyptian towns on the Red Sea, saying they were intended to strike Israel. The Pentagon said a U.S. Navy warship on October 19th intercepted 3 cruise missiles and several drones launched by the Houthi movement from Yemen, potentially towards Israel. The Prime Minister of the Houthi government in Yemen, Abdel Aziz bin Habtour, has said that the Houthis were part of the axis of resistance against Israel and has vowed to step up attacks against Zionists. So who are the Houthis and why are they, or why do they have this target, or where did this vow come from? The Houthis are an Islamist political and armed organization that emerged from Sa'ada in Yemen. It is predominantly Zaidi Shia force that rebelled against the Yemen government. In 2014, troops loyal to former President Ali Abdullah Saleh captured much of the country, including the capital Sana'a. Saudi Arabia is trying to restore peace between the Houthis and the internationally recognized government of President Aboud Rabu Mansour. But Houthi missile launches at Israel risk reigniting war in Yemen. Saudi Arabia has reportedly intercepted a 5th missile fired by the Houthis. At the same time, Israel's national security advisor has condemned the Houthi attack and confirmed that no Gaza hostage deal was in sight.
לגבי הסיפור של החות'ים, הבה נאמר שהדבר הזה הוא בלתי נסבל, אבל לא נשתמש בהזדמנות של המפגש הזה להבהיר לאויבינו מה צפוי להם ככל שהם ימשיכו בהתרסה הזו. מצרים היא מדינה שהיא ידידה שלנו, היא נמצאת איתנו בשלום עתיר עשורים. אנחנו מבינים שמאוד חשוב לה למנוע שתהיה נהירה של עקורים פלסטינים מן הרצועה אליה. אנחנו בשיח איתם, אני בשיח עם המקבילים שלי במצרים, לנו חשוב שגם אם זה מה שהם חוששים ממנו, שבכל זאת יינתן טיפול לפצועים.
As the war enters its 4th week, Israel continues to bombard areas in Gaza. The hostilities have cost close to 8,600 Palestinian lives so far. Over 3,000 of them are children. Thousands are still in hospitals. Doctors and paramedics are struggling with low fuel, lack of water and sanitation infrastructure. At the same time, many are facing problems to reach the hospitals. Most of the hospitals are filled with injured people. This has forced the doctors to conduct the surgeries in the corridors. In these Indonesian hospitals, the number of patients are around 250. And due to the lack of space, the doctors are now saying in the coming days, they may discharge some to provide shelter to others. After the Israeli attack on Jabalia refugee camp, there is a long line of dead bodies outside the Indonesian hospital in Gaza. According to a media report, at least 50 people were killed in the attack. In a new video released by the Palestinian Red Crescent, physicians belonging to the Humanitarian organization can be seen evaluating the damage at a warehouse which was used for humanitarian work. Due to damage, sustained in the bombardment, the warehouse has been decommissioned for humanitarian assistance. Palestinian health officials have reported airstrike impacts near 3 large hospitals in the Gaza city on Monday. In northern Gaza, people are using donkey drone carts to move shrouded bodies, as they do not have an access to vehicles to carry the bodies. Eyewitnesses to the Israeli airstrikes are saying there are hundreds of bodies littering the streets, while adding that residents do not have any communication with ambulances. Meanwhile, a Gazan medic also says with the communication blackout, ambulances have to look for smoke rising into the air to locate the site of an Israeli strike.
انقطعت الاتصالات. هناك قصف في عدة مواقع. ربما نحن واقفين الآن يتم قصف أي موقع على الدخان الذي يتصاعد من مكان الانفجار. ربما نحدد نوعا ما مكان القصف فنوجه سيارات الإسعاف، حتى سيارات الإسعاف التي تخرج لمكان الاستهداف يتم يعني لا يوجد اتصال بيني وبين سيارة الإسعاف بسبب عدم وجود حتى اللاسلكيات.
The deadly explosion at the Al Ali Arabiya hospital in Gaza City became one of the main criticism for the Israeli forces. Several world leaders condemned the attack. However, a few hours later, the attack became a part of a blame game. Israel blamed another group called Palestinian Islamist Jihadi Group, while Hamas and other Palestinian authorities blamed Israel for the attack. Currently, several global agencies are investigating the attack. The United Nations has already warned that a public health catastrophe is engulfing civilians in Gaza, and with no ceasefire talks anytime soon, experts are predicting more suffering in Gaza. Mohammed Najib is a journalist, war correspondent and security analyst. Is joining us from Ramallah. Mohammed, welcome to the show. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg denounced Hamas's attack, but said Israel's response must respect international law. Similar calls were made by the US and some countries in the West. What will happen if Israel does not listen, or, as Biden said, too engrossed in rage to listen?
Yes, on the 25th day of the war, and with the expansion of the Israeli armed forces ground incursion today on several areas of the Gaza Strip, the number of casualties significantly increased because the Israelis bombing residential areas, as you just mentioned, in Jabalia refugees camp, where there's some killed, others injured, and some still missing under the rubble. So it is a catastrophic situation when they fall 6 bombs, each one 1 ton. So that is a problem for the Palestinians. And the Palestinians say that the highest number of casualties that happened in this war compared to previous Israeli wars against Gaza, which exceeded 8,500 casualties, more than 20,000 injured, with the shortage of capabilities for the hospitals to host or to absorb injured and to handle that. And Israel continue the closure of crossing borders with Israel and with Egypt, so they don't allow the evacuation of the injured to be treated, and to allow the entrance of the medical supplies to Gaza. So that is against the international war laws, but Israel don't want to listen to anyone to ceasefire, humanitarian ceasefire, or allow the entry of the fuel that is necessary for the functioning of the hospitals. And on the 25th day, it is like a real humanitarian catastrophe happens in Gaza.
Mohammed, let's talk about these rebels who are at the border with Israel, the Houthis, who are equipped with advanced weapons from Iran or Iranian design, launched 4 land-based missiles and 14 drones north towards Israel. Critics say that Houthi missile launches at Israel risk reigniting war in Yemen. So what impact will this have on the current war if proxies say enough is enough and join the fight?
Yeah, it's not surprising to see the Houthis firing missiles or drones against Israel, because the Hamas said from the beginning that what they call the resistance acts, which is Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and Iranians in Syria, and Hamas and the Islamic Jihad in the Gaza Strip are fighting together. So if it is the Israelis targeting Hamas in Gaza, they will not leave Hamas fighting alone or facing the Israeli excessive force alone. They said they will join the battle. And this was a concern by Israel right now since 25 days, that if Hezbollah join the battle, then the things will be catastrophic for Israel. It says it can fight on two fronts, but it is a security burden to fight on the north front against Hezbollah and against Hamas in the south. And if the Houthis in Yemen also join, or Iranian joins, or others in militias, pro-Iranian militias in Syria, they join also, that will be a regional war. And that was a big concern for Israel, for the region, and for the international community as well.
Mohammed, very quickly, now that we've mentioned that this will be a big effect to Israel, what about to Palestine or to Gaza? What impact would that have when these proxy organizations or rebels join the fight?
Yeah, it's for Hamas, it's a support for them, and they feel they are not alone, and they can distract the Israeli concentration on the Gaza Strip. I will give you an example that since the outbreak of this war, Israel also heavily cracked down on the West Bank, arresting all Hamas activists to avoid their involvement in fighting against Israel. So Israel wants really to concentrate on Gaza. They don't want to be distracted with the West Bank, with Hezbollah, with others in Yemen, with or Iranian militia in Syria. But Israel doesn't decide everything. So if it is continue bombing the civilians and killing the civilians, then the region cannot keep silent. And we hear that also Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, said he's going to address his speech on a Friday. So we don't know what he's going to say. But it's almost or likely that Hezbollah will not keep watching if Israel deepen its ground incursion inside Gaza, and the people and the world see and the region see the significant increase of casualties among Palestinian civilians in Gaza, and continue the closure and the blockade, because the people see this is a war against the civilians, not against Hamas only.
All right, I've been talking to Mohammed Najib, a journalist, war correspondent and security analyst from Ramallah. Mohammed, thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you, sir.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.